So now most attendees are online, and I would like to welcome you again to our webinar, Everything to PDF-A with a PDF compressor. So we'll talk about PDF, PDF archiving, and using the PDF compressor, which is a tool which can convert scanned and born digital documents. Short introduction. So my name is Thomas Sillman, and I'm here with Foxit Europe for the sales part, and I will do the webinar together with Armin. And Armin is our CTO and will introduce himself and give you some practical tips. Armin.
Yes, thank you, Thomas. I will give a short technical demonstration in the course of this webinar. A warm welcome also to all of you from my side. Technicalities are also my topic here. As you have noticed in this webinar, you are all muted, so we can't hear what you say. That doesn't mean we won't allow any questions, but we ask you to enter your questions in this questions text field in the GoToWebinar user interface, and then we can review those questions, and we'll, as always, do our best to answer all questions in the course of this webinar. This is not always possible. If we can't answer your question now, we'll get back to you via email, and of course you're also very welcome to post all questions that come up in the aftermath via email or give us a phone call under one of those phone numbers and email support addresses listed in the presentation. Also, at the end of the webinar, there will be a short questionnaire which we would ask you to answer in order to give us some feedback to improve and learn about the quality of our presentation. Okay, that's it so far. No questions yet, and so it's back to Thomas.
It's too early for questions. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I would like to start, and yeah, the first two slides is just to give you a short overview about LuraTech, and LuraTech being a part of Foxit now. So we have a mixed attendance group here. So some of you know LuraTech, which is located here in Germany, and we are focused on document conversion, so converting documents on the server side. Now, since 1 year, LuraTech is a business of Foxit software, and there we will continue to provide the server solutions, which are mainly the PDF compressor. So if we just talk about product lines or products, this is the one which is the focus of today. Armin will show you later how it works for scanned and born, or so-called born digital documents. A second major product line is our rendition server, which is for central document conversion. So PDF compressor is pretty good if you have 1-2 applications where you need to convert scanned or born digital documents. The rendition server goes further. This one is a good solution if you really have multiple or want to integrate multiple applications in your organization, which needs to create PDF in a similar and good quality and integrating with lots of application. But this is another webinar. Yeah, we're talking about PDF, so obviously we should know something about it, and we are also a very active member in the PDF Association, which is a worldwide association for PDF, and our CEO, Carsten Heiermann, is a member of the board in the PDF Association. Myself, I'm the managing director in a part-time function of the PDF Association, and our developers, like Armin as a CTO and other developers, are in the working groups where they discuss all the details around PDF, and obviously also work in the worldwide ISO committees in order to, yeah, we have already a lot of PDF standards around, but move those on, develop further, and improve those standards. Foxit is Foxit Europe, as I said, so we just, in this October, we renamed LuraTech Europe to Foxit Europe. Foxit brings in a lot of PDF solutions, and they are mainly coming from the client side. And some of you may know, but for those who are not, so they are, let's say, the famous ones, which is a Foxit Reader, free of charge. So this is a PDF viewer which I'm using here, and Armin will use it also later. So it's an alternative to the Adobe Reader, and honestly, we think, or we're quite sure, it's a #2 PDF viewer in this world with a lot of good functions. As I said, it's free of charge. If you need a complete PDF editor, then PhantomPDF comes into the game. This is also an alternative to Acrobat and provides a very attractive cost of ownership. And this is also a good point of both companies coming together, that Foxit has a lot of PDF toolkits and SDK, so both sides can benefit from available PDF technology. So we provided something for the Foxit products and vice versa. We could integrate interesting PDF functionalities into our solutions. A very new initiative is called Connected PDF. And this is a cloud-based PDF ecosystem which mainly allows for collaboration. So if you create PDF files and if you want to share those within your organization or also with business partners, then it's very easy to use Connected PDF as a cloud solution. This cloud solution allows to share, to enable access rights and also have versioning, so you can obviously make sure everybody looks at the same version, and if you move the document, the PDF document forward, then everybody gets automatically noticed. Also very interesting, I mentioned the website but not part of the day. If we come back to our topic of today, then I want to rather quickly move through the use cases and the requirements, and then Armin will demonstrate this practically, how documents can be converted to PDF using the PDF compressor. So basically the problem of today is what we call the multi-channel input, or also the industry is calling it this way. So remember the good old times. So this is a small picture here. There have been paper folders, but the nice thing was everything was together. So you had for one customer, if you are an insurance or if you're another organization, if you're a government, you had for this citizen, you had one folder with all the things. And obviously, I don't need to convince you, digital has many, many benefits, makes it faster and so on. But this also may screw up things a little bit. And then this is where, let's say the challenges of today's digital world. So there's still a lot of paper. Go to your digital mailroom in your organization and you will see there's still a lot of paper mails incoming, which are typically already digitized in the beginning and will be or move through your organization digital then. So this is a scan part. Emails, obviously millions of emails doing all the business, daily business are handled between companies, but very often we see this in a lot of companies. Those are sitting on a mail server and are not, for example, related to the paper mail. So you lose the logical context of a folder, of a customer folder. And I call it not best practice, I call it bad practice. Sometimes they are really printed and moved through the scanning process, which is not, it's okay. You can do it, but I think we can agree it's not the way. Then also there are thousands or millions of documents distributed within your organizations. PDFs are created with thousands of tools, so that's the good news with PDF. There's a great choice of dedicated tools available. The bad news is there are also good and bad PDF tools, so some of them really create technically bad PDFs, and this is, for example, where PDF-A helps. So if you convert any, let's call it bad PDF into PDF-A, you will immediately recognize what's technically not perfect or even wrong, and this is a good point that you detect it early and can correct it. And obviously there's a mobile world, so your customers, your business partners may scan travel receipts, other receipts with their smartphone, want to send it immediately to you, and this is what also is now incoming multi-channel input. So, and the idea and the challenge is that you still want one logical record. And this was the original idea from 2006. I put it in the top of the slide. So this was really when PDF-A became a standard, an ISO standard, was the first idea to have. It does not solve all problems, but if you really look to the bottom level, which is, I like the picture of a house, so this is really the basement of your house, then it all depends on having good documents in your archives, in your ECM systems, in your document management systems, and PDF-A allows to convert everything which is scribbled here. So when you have scanned paper, you can convert this to PDF. If you have your internal documents or your output documents, you can convert those to PDF-A. If you receive documents like email is a best example, everything can become PDF-A, and this gives you a solid foundation, a solid basement where you can build up your workflows, your archive system, your document management system. So this was the idea of PDF-A, and then you can have a very nice workflow software, but if your documents are, let's say, technical garbage, then you will run likely into problems sooner or later. And then just for the use cases, I like to start with I like to say it's two worlds. So one is we really start with a piece of paper or a folder with 1,000 pages. So then there's obviously scanning needed at some point in time. Nowadays, color scanning is possible, so the hardware is available. The hardware is, you can pay, or it's not too expensive anymore. The hardware is fast enough, so really hardware is not the bottleneck anymore. And when you deploy PDF-A for scanned documents, and on the one hand you get the PDF-A standard, so you get a safe digital paper which can be reproduced in 20, 50, 100 years from now. So even if Foxit is not around anymore, and even think of a even worse scenario, Adobe and Microsoft may be gone, but as long as the ISO is there in a civilized world, then this will still be possible. In this world of scanned documents, OCR is one of the key benefits. So you don't, if you just scan a piece of paper, you know it, then it's more or less an amount of pixels with no sense, with no logical sense, and OCR really makes it full text searchable. So this really gives you a good business document where you can work, where you can extract data, where you can find, think of a 100-page folder, and you don't want to scroll through the 100 pages to find out that your customer or the specific case you're looking for is on page 55. So this is where it helps. And then obviously one of the key benefits and strong points of PDF Compressor is the high compression, and this applies for black and white scans. And when you go for color scans, then it's an easy reminder that you get something which is what you only typically are used from the size of a black and white scan. So black and white scans are in the area of 50 to 70 kilobyte per page, letter size for example, and this is the same with a good quality when you deploy the PDF compressor in order to do that. The typical use cases are on the one hand the digital mailroom, so everything what comes still in as paper mails into your organization can be scanned, digitized immediately at the entry point, and then you can start the workflow, the digital workflow, where all the people who needed to work on this document can work, process it until it ends up in the archive. And the same is true for digitization projects. So think of a government organization. If they have a large amount of folders, papers, and obviously there are a lot of ongoing projects to digitize those in order to benefit from all the digital things. And this is a very easy description, which is of the high compression, easy to explain. There's a complex software behind it. Armin knows more than I know, but just to give you the idea, if you have a very generic document like this flyer, I would call it, or brochure, then you have image parts like tables, like graphics, like this sunflower. You have text may be in color, which is ugly for some software pieces. They don't like it. And then this is the main trick, that the LuraTech compression algorithm splits those different objects into 3 different layers, which are internally. So if you look from the outside, you still see one file.pdf, and it's internally to switch those layers, where those layers, and those are the objects. This is a black text on white background. So this is what's typically most important in a business document. This is lossless compression. This is the best quality what the hardware could produce, and this should be preserved. that the information that some parts of the text was blue and the other one was red and other colors, this can be compressed very heavily. So this is one of the tricks to get the high compression, and also the image parts can be compressed depending on the need. So if you have, I don't know, satellite images, then you may not want to compress it too much. If you have logos, something like that, then you can say. So that's also where PDF Compressor offers options in order to, yes, get the best quality with the best compression. When we switch a little bit to the digital world, then obviously email is one of the key use cases here, where you can convert the emails. Again, I would like to say as a disclaimer, we are talking about the basement, about the foundation. So it's a very good idea, and a lot of our customers are doing this for years to convert all their mails to PDF in order to have, yes, a common and unique document format which they can work on in their document management, in their ECM systems. But email management, so if you're going or looking into such a project, this is much more. So we are talking about the foundation again, the base documents, what you need in organization, who is doing what, who is responsible for converting the emails, who has access, things like that are a larger topic and an extra webinar, to be honest. But from the pure document point of view, PDFA is a good idea. And on the one hand, you can take the part 1, which allows for a flattened conversion. So everything of the email, which is mainly the attachment, so just thinking of email where you have an attachment Word file and an Excel file and maybe a PowerPoint file, this can be flattened, or the new PDF A3 part allows for complete archiving, where we will also see samples in a minute. This is also, let's say, one of the strong points of PDF Compressor. So on the one hand, you don't want to have Outlook on the server, so PDF Compressor converts email without the need for Outlook for the text body. And also, and this is our long-term experience in the support, in our development, that converting the Hello World Word file is quite easy, but the tricky things and the details come when you have difficult tables, Word tables, think of complex Excel files. Then there's a lot of ongoing experience in order to reach a good conversion, a good document which results in the PDF file finally. And then we have the PDFA part 3, which is my beloved topic. So the one thing is that from the technical point of view, this is rather easy. So for technical people, it's maybe even boring. So just one adds feature, and the feature is you can embed any file. So in the worst case, you can even embed a virus. The ISO standard will not disallow it for you, but in the good case, you may have very good use cases, and this is where PDF A3 is really interesting. I use it myself. So when we're looking to this presentation, so I'm using Foxit Reader. Foxit Reader tells me that there's something embedded. Here you see the clip with a red button. And obviously, I'm a Microsoft user, so I did the original presentation in PowerPoint. This is my tool in order to create presentations, and then I converted it. So now we are looking here on the right side to the PDF representation. But in any case, I need it, or if you want to copy something for your presentation, when we provide you the presentation, then you can always access the original, the source. So that's the very simple idea, very simple use case. And this is also the only thing you must say when you embed any file into PDF. And this is the so-called type here, which also describes or gives a good impression what the use cases are. So source, as the name indicates, that's really the source. I just showed you, I did the presentation in PowerPoint, and now I embedded this. This is true for a contract, which typically may be written in Word or any other Office package and things like that. There's the option of supplement. So this may be data which belongs, so you can really have everything together. You don't have 10 files which you have to keep together in your system, in your file servers. You can really make it one PDF file, and everything, a description, a price list, things like that is embedded very easily. So you can add those. You may have data, which we see in a more in an industry solution, so where you have really raw data from measurement devices. This may be useful also to bundle this together, to combine this in one container in order to maybe run another analysis. But at the end, when time goes by, then it's typically the PDF report which summarizes the measurement is the interesting one which you want to have. And then we have alternative. This is the fourth type for embedding. And the most famous example for this is electronic invoicing, which is very hot in Europe these days. So this gives a really, what I think and truly believe is a perfect combination of an invoice. So it's still a PDF file. So if I send my invoice to anybody who has no hunch about IT, then he can still use Adobe Reader or Foxit Reader, open it, print it, check it, and pay it manually. But there's also the XML data, which is at least for the European Union a standard now. This is called SACFERT. So there's all the data of the invoice, like the invoice amount, like the value added text, things like that embedded, and a solution where automatic processing of invoices is done. This will grab the XML file, put it, for example, into an SAP system. So SAP will handle the invoice, will prepare the bookkeeping and the payment, and then the complete file, visible version as PDF and machine readable data as XML will go into the archive. So this was a very quick move through the application areas, and now I would like to hand over to Armin, who will show this with PDF Compressor and a nice practical example. Armin, you take over when I can switch your screen on. Okay, now it should be there.
Thank you very much. Okay. So now Thomas has talked about a lot of features and a lot of use cases, and I have the difficult task of presenting you at least a slice of everything he mentioned and try to wrap it all up in one demonstration. So please bear with me that we only have a few documents here to try and show as many of the features that are available. To show everything is merely impossible in the course of a single webinar. So the backstory of what we have created here is real estate. Real estate is actually still a pretty hot topic in the city of Berlin, where we're currently located. And so browsing the web, you may come across a PDF document like this one. This is a handout for a flat, actually, two-room apartment, renovated, nice area of town, blah, blah, blah. Some pretty photographs and actually some hard facts here as well. So it's 57 square meters and it costs 160,000 euro. That is quite a bit, actually. And so if you decide to buy something like that, you'll find yourself in need of financing. And what then usually happens, and I think that's the same across the board in the US and in Europe, if you go to a bank, say, I'd like a credit, I'd like a mortgage for buying a flat, they'll present you with a long list of requirements of documents that you have to submit. And instead of sending everything by email, of course, you soon find yourself in the instead of sending everything by regular post, you'll find yourself sending emails back and forth with your executive at the bank, and so something like this may occur. They may send you a request for more information, description of the property, photographs, floor plan, contract, and insurance documentation, for example. And this may result, I'm in the position of the bank executive here, actually, the bank employee, the clerk. They may get an email back from their customer saying, well, two of the things I have right here, the rest I'll provide, say via a Dropbox account or some file share or something. And so this is an incoming email, and it has two things attached. The one is a regular Word document. Okay, that's all in German, but that's the sales contract for the flat. Okay, nice Arms of Berlin on the first page. And of course, we shorten this document a bit. This would usually easily have dozens of pages. Okay, that's the one attachment, Word document. The other thing is the building insurance documentation. And oops, what do we have here? This pretty much looks like, sorry for that. No, wrong. I'll open it again. Sorry, I got into browsing the documents instead of zooming in EarthNU, so I'll probably rather hit the keys. Okay, so what we have here is something that you could euphemistically call a mobile scan. You could also probably more correctly assume that the client just took a snapshot with their smartphone and just sent you that. So you have, well, you have a more or less useful photograph of a document. At least everything's legible. You have, of course, it's a bit noisy. It's a bit more brighter here in the upper left-hand side than on the lower right-hand side. But okay, will do, because that's really what the Word looks like. People are requested to provide documentation in some way or another, and more we find, our customers find, that simply snapshots taken with mobile devices are being sent or emailed. So we have an email with two attachments. We have this original brochure for the flat. Then we have the other two requested documents, which are merely this floor plan that seems to have been scanned. You have a little noise here from the JPEG scanning, but it's a PDF all right. And you have two more JPEG images, probably also just taken with a smartphone, describing what the property looks like. And that's what the inbox of our bank clerk may look like. And of course, a lot more documents may get deposited here as well, and may need to be structured and reformatted for archiving. And this is where the PDF compressor comes into play. So of course we have prepared this a little bit. We have a job here that uses this folder as an input folder. It has quite a few document formats specified as possible input files for the PDF compressor, including Office documents and emails. To keep it nice and simple, we're also using this automatic mode here. That means take all these input formats, let PDF Compressor decide automatically how to best process them and what the best and most true to the original fashion is to convert them to our output format, which in this case is PDF A3U, for the reasons that Thomas already mentioned. You have the full quality, the full archivability of the PDF A format, plus you have the option to store attachments to emails, for example, as attachments to the resulting PDF files. Enough for now. Of course, OCR is also switched on here. I have too many language options on my computer right now. Maybe I should switch to or enable English as well. And here we go. So this will create the output in this output folder. And we'll let it run for a second. Okay. So here is the brochure. You see the notification that it's a PDF A document now. You see the quality has been retained. I can zoom in here. Well, it gets a little fuzzy if I zoom in far enough, but everything's still quite legible and recognizable. Okay. Let's see how far we have come now. Still working on the two photographs. The really interesting bit, of course, is the email document. Again, it's a PDF A document, and you see this is the PDF version of the email body. It contains all the header information of the original email, including dates and times. and subject line and so on, the attachment, and then right on the next page after that we see our mobile scan. This insurance certificate document has also been converted to a PDF page, as has the Word document containing the contract. Okay, so we do have a PDF now that has 6 pages altogether. We do have bookmarks in here pointing to the start of each individual document. Of course, in this case, it's pretty easy to distinguish the email attachments from each other, even in the PDF document. But if you have an email containing, say, 5 different Word files as attachments, it can be pretty difficult afterwards to figure out where one Word file ended and where the next one began originally. So we do have these bookmarks here, and as I click them, they point, each of them points to the first page of the respective PDF result. Plus, as Thomas mentioned, we also still have the original attachments to the emails attached here as a JPEG file and as a docx file. So if I double click this here, of course I get a warning, say yes, and there I open it up in Word and it's the original Word file as it was. We've only demonstrated this feature here with the attachments of the email. We could do that for the other documents as well, but the others have in this case only been converted to normal PDFs. So for this JPEG image you get a 1-page PDF file containing the image. But you see the general overall benefit in this case is you have this, as we call it, zoo of input file formats. You have unified that and have one common output file format for your archiving system, and the format is full text searchable, and it is in a long time archiving format, namely PDF-A. On top of that, we have created another job serving the purpose of, let me throw away this previous result, the purpose of getting everything into one file. You see here you have some kind of intermediate result. You have a lot of single documents, but you still don't have your one file for the client, for this business case. Okay, and you can easily achieve that by having more or less the same job. This time it reads from the previous output folder, and it combines all the documents in this folder to form one output file with this name in the output folder. I let that run as well, and again this is going to be PDF-A3. Document's going to be created here. And you have the bookmarks options are actually here, a little further down the road in this configuration dialog. You see here I have the option to embed one bookmark per input file, and the benefit of that is that here now we have one single PDF file containing all the intermediate results. So we now have something like 16 pages, and in order to be able to navigate those pages we again have bookmarks that point to every single one of the parts. So here we have the snapshot of the insurance document. Here we have the conversion result corresponding to the Word document. We have the front and rear photographs, and we have the email body, and everything is in order and kind of indexed or properly labeled here with bookmarks, but otherwise you now have one unified PDF-A version. And of course this could also be something that could be automated. So if by the end of the day you say, well, 5 cases were closed in the course of this week and we would now like to convert each of them to its more or less final PDF-A version, then you can have that run as an automated batch job with PDF Compressor. And one last thing concerning the email attachment. You have a special set of options here governing the conversion of email attachments. And so per default, we would do for PDF A3, we would convert every page to PDF format and append them to the main document. And we would also embed every attachment of the original email as an attachment to the PDF A3 result document. Other options would be to simply ignore all attachments. In some cases this may be feasible, or you have a host of options here for more specific conversions. So you can switch whether you want to embed things, whether you want to attach them, whether you want to attach them in a PDF-A format. And of course, as Thomas also mentioned, there are things that you might want to archive, such as voicemail recordings or videos taken on premises or of accident damage or, I don't know, medical exams, whatever you have. And then here you have options to exactly specify what to append, what to include in the archival format, and what to specifically to ignore. And you have conditional error handling, so you can specify whether everything that cannot be converted should immediately be flagged as an error, or whether you want to be more tolerant and say, well, we can live with it if certain attachment types cannot be converted, and we'd rather just have a warning and continue processing. This is really just a brief glimpse, but there are quite a few useful configurations based on that, and we can of course, given your specific use case, we can of course give recommendations and set up sample conversion jobs in order to meet your requirements. Again, this is really just the briefest of overviews of what is possible, but I hope it helped to illustrate how you can turn a host of different input formats into a unified and cohesive and comprehensive archival format, which is PDF A3. Thomas, anything I've...
So, sorry, I need to come back to audio. Thank you. Yeah, there was one question whether it works also for large format maps, things like that. I would say yes, even better. But anything you want to add? Like
yes, sure, of course. We just recently had a presentation on that, and we are proud to say we can handle large formats. Many of our customers do that. They have drawing plans, they have historical maps, they have large-scale aerial photographs, and all those can be handled pretty well and can be handled by all the same standard measures of PDF Compressor. It's just this one drawback. Of course, the bigger the file, the longer the processing takes, and therefore we tend not to use too many of those in such a webinar.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for the demonstration. So we have seen that this is just the picture, the architecture picture, I would say, and just to mention it a little bit, so you have seen PDF Compressor technically can handle both. So you can have typically the uppercase here, scanned documents, which may come in as TIFF or JPEG typically. Also, if you have MFP devices, there may already be in PDF, which can be improved and optimized. And if you're on the born digital world, so you have emails, things like that. And Armin also showed with the PDF compressor. So on the one hand, it's a very easy mode. So it's called the automatic mode. So you can throw everything in, and PDF compressor will figure out what's the best way to process everything on its own. If it's really larger volume, larger operations, then obviously a lot of customers say, okay, on the one hand, we have the digital mailroom where we're talking scan, so we set up jobs for scanning, and I have one health insurance which is doing 25 million pages per year, so you can imagine it's a high volume, also needs some hardware to process this and receives the throughput. Then it may be sensible to split this off to have a server for the scanning business and another one maybe for the incoming email conversion. So, but this is matter of detailed discussions, and we're happy to do so with your project. Just an idea about the license and pricing model so that you can also get this here for the PDF compressor. So I think you have seen the good functionality or everything what Armin showed. From the license models, we have different models and try to meet your needs, and to start small we call it advanced. So you have a yearly page volume starting from 12,000 pages per year. So it's really small, and this is also cheap. So we are in the area of $500, for example, when the normal standard thing is a PDF compressor for one core. This can approximately, always depends, but as a ballpark figure or rule of thumb, it can do approximately 5 million pages per year. And when we obviously have customers which do more, like the health insurance I mentioned with 25 million pages per year, then this may need more hardware and obviously also more licenses, but that's also, I think, a quite fair pricing model. So if you're small, then you can also have a small entry price, and if it's high volume, then obviously this is more expensive, as PDF compressor has to do much more work. And there's also the model for one-time projects. So we have models here. So this is good. So the upper one was for ongoing projects. Digital mailroom is the best example. So you get mails every day, every year, every week. If you have a one-time project, so maybe you have a set of maps which you want to convert, and it's 1 million, then you can buy a so-called cartridge. You run the project, and then the license is used, but also the project is over. Special mention is that we have currently running a year-end promotion, which is valid until November 30. So if you're already checked, and we're also happy to provide a test version, PDF compressor, want to deploy it, then there's obviously the choice to, yes, benefit from this promotion. So we are at the end, nearly in time, I would say. We would like to thank you for your attention. We can have a last check whether there are any questions, but I don't see more now. So we had one from your demo, Armin. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't see it.
Okay. No, there are no more questions. Then I think, well, maybe very often when you review this webinar in 5 minutes and you have a question, please feel free to contact us. You can see my email address or use a generic one from LuraTech or Foxit, doesn't matter, we will receive it. We hope we could give you some good information, some good examples, some practical demonstration of PDF compressor. We would like to thank you for your attention, and we are doing webinars regularly and hope to see you soon again. And obviously, if you need a test version, then please feel free to contact us. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thanks also and bye. Have a great day.